Australians want bludgers. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's check out this article from Yahoo Finance discussing a Centrelink recipient who, well, let's just say he can't be bothered working or the mathematics doesn't add up for him working. Now, I would make an argument that Aussies, we want bludgers, okay? And before we look at this article here, I was just realizing the term bludger, that's an Australian term, and I've brought it up here in the dictionary.com, or Oxford Languages. So, bludger, Australian and New Zealand English, informal, derogatory, a person who lives off the efforts of others, a scrounger. Just look at that bludger. Can't get his thieving hands on the cash fast enough. An idle or lazy person. What do you reckon, guys? Is this accurate? Now, let's check out this article, guys, before I explain why I make the argument that we want bludgers in this country. Australians love their bludgers. So, Centrelink discussed as $389 payday trumps Aussie industry desperate for workers who would work. Okay, let's have a look here what Stuart has written. A TikToker, oh, that's your first problem there. With AirPods, it's $200 right there. Looks like he's on site. Anyway, he's probably a construction worker. In Australia, has highlighted a major issue with working in the hospitality sector. While there are plenty of venues that are hiring, especially for the Christmas season, that pay for part-time role, the pay for a part-time role might end up being less than if you were on welfare. That's the belief of a bloke who goes by the online moniker Mr. Chocolate, who says you're better off applying for Job Seeker rather than a job at a cafe, pub, or restaurant for $24.10 an hour. Imagine the Americans watching this. Okay, this is our minimum wage. Round about. It's getting it's locking a lot of people out of the economy. Because you've got such a high minimum wage, it exacerbates the poverty trap of being stuck on Centrelink. Because there's a cost with going to work. You need the right clothing, you need travel, you need to eat out or bring packed lunches. You need to do all these things that are a lot cheaper than if you're just at home. We've noticed this moving from homeschooling to regular schooling. The packed lunches. That's an extra cost and such a pain in the ass to do. That you don't have to do if you just cook a meal at home. It's cheaper. It is cheaper. Working a part-time job of 16 hours a week would net you $385. Is that right? Probably after tax. 16 times, yeah, probably. No. Shit. Shit. That's that's not much. But you can get $389 per week from Centrelink if you're single, unemployed, and have no children. So, I mean, the thing is you can earn. My understanding is your Centrelink is only garnished at a certain amount. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong. So you can get top up. But the problem is this disincentivizes you from working, incentivizes you from staying on the Centrelink. This is the poverty trap. But here's the thing, guys. We want this wage. Australians want minimum wages. They keep voting for it. They want this artificial floor in the market. So if you want that, if you want minimum wages in our country, you cannot complain about providing support to people via Centrelink. You can't complain about the bludgers. You need to support them. That's the price we pay to have a safety net for our citizens. And sometimes for the non-citizens. But that's a different topic. That's the cost. That's the consequences. So someone who wants to sit on their ass earning under $400 a week, it's going to be a shit, boring life. Probably not as stressful as other lives, but still. There you go. That's the consequence of this system. You either complain about people living on shit money, or you realize that you're creating a disincentive. You're creating a poverty trap. They'll be stuck on it. Who the F wants to work for $22 to $25 an hour for 10 to 20 hours? That's $250, he said on TikTok. He's probably on a site earning a shitload more. That's what it is. That's what it is. But you've got to understand, this is a starter job, a starter rate, working in a cafe. You don't know where it could lead, what opportunities it could provide. You don't want to be doing this type of work your whole life. Well, at least men don't want to be doing this type of work their whole lives. If you want to attract a partner, you want to be the one owning the cafe. You want to build up, gain more experience, he said in a TikTok rant. And then you get taxed and you get like $200. You're better off on Centrelink. I would never waste your time. He was referring to a waiter job on the Gold Coast offering up to 20 hours of work per week, which would pay a maximum of $482. But I mean, that's a part-time job. It's not a full-time job. The problem is the hours could be all over the place. Is it, you know, if it's 2 days, 2 big days, cool, great. But if it's like 3 hours here, it ruins your whole week for $500. You could also get a second part-time job with similar conditions, and you'd be able to walk away with more than $900 in your pocket after 40 hours of work completed. Yes, but one of them you get the tax-free threshold. I'm assuming they're taking account of that. One of them you wouldn't. This is why I make the argument we need to get rid of pay-as-you-go, or take it out of the employer's hands and put it in the employee's hands. So they realize. I know it'll be a complete shit show, guys. Don't at me in the comments about that. That's not the point. Hospitality is crying out for applicants at the moment, with Seek data showing there are currently 10,331 listings for chefs and 3,635 for bar staffs. I'm on a Facebook group for chefs. I don't know how I got on there, where they're just complaining about how shit the industry is, how terrible the pay is, and the stress and the responsibility you've got to take on. It's nuts. It's not a good industry. So I'm not surprised there's so many listings. And hospitality, it's taking a hammering. This is an industry that he's talking about. It's a luxury industry. This is the first thing you cut when times get tough. When you're worried about paying your mortgage, you don't go eating out. In total, there are more than 24,500 roles in the industry up for grabs. While it may be tempting to throw in the employment towel and rely on Centrelink to get by, as Mr. Chocolate suggests, no, he's not suggesting that. He's saying that these jobs aren't worth it compared to Centrelink. Okay, he's not telling you all to be bludgers. He's probably, I bet you he's earning a shitload more than this. He just doesn't see the value in it. But here's the thing, you need to get skills. You need to get skills that are in demand. Being a waiter is not a highly skilled job. How long would it take you to learn how to do it? To do it really well, it would take you some time, but to do it just good enough at a little restaurant, it's not a hard job. You've got to put up with a lot of crap, though. That's the problem. So, I mean, come on. These are the things that are a stepping stone. That's a part of life. We should all do a shit kicker job, at the very least, to realize that you don't want to be doing it for your whole bloody life, so you focus more on other aspects. That was me at Woolies Nightfill. Can you survive on Centrelink in a capital city? No. Okay, Centrelink is not income replacement. People don't like it when I make this argument. Centrelink, and I think a whole lot of people learned this during the pandemic, Centrelink is an emergency payment for people that aren't able to take care of themselves. It's not your income protection insurance. It's not a replacement for that. Remember when all these people were suddenly going on Centrelink because of the pandemic, the lockdowns, they were put off from their jobs, and they were bitching and moaning how little it was, so they bumped it all up. Because a whole lot of normies finally had to live on this shit money. I mean, it's terrible money. But it's just there to keep you from being destitute. It's there to keep people from having to resort to illegal methods to survive. That's what it is there for. It shouldn't be a replacement for your livelihood. So the median weekly rent in capital cities sits at $650. That's $550 for regional. No, don't look at the median rent. If you're on Centrelink, you should be probably only renting a room somewhere. You can't afford to rent a whole house. You shouldn't expect to be able to afford to rent a whole house. Or it should just be enough to help you get by until you find another job. then you have to. I mean, what's okay? Yeah, okay. It's extreme. Anyway, the Economic Inclusion Advisory Committee called for job seeker to be increased 90%. Would bump the fortnightly payment for singles up to $1,000. That's an increase of $121 per week, or about $17 a day. So $500 a week. Could you imagine people? We already have a poverty trap now. People stuck on this stupid system because they're disincentivized from working at a low-skilled job, which could be the stepping stone to improve your entire life. Imagine if it was $500 a week. How many? You could live off that, honestly, if you owned your own house. Retire on Centrelink, guys. I would rather we have a UBI, negative taxation, and then just shut down the entire welfare system. Not going to happen. Because you'll be putting out too many unionized government workers out of work. It's our view that unemployment payments have fallen to such an inadequate level that they create a barrier to paid work. Okay, this is the other argument. You don't have enough money to actually sort your shit out, to even get to work. I mean, that could be another thing too. It is also our view that our income support system should prevent poverty and financial distress to ensure people looking for paid work are not placed at a greater disadvantage by virtue of not having enough money to meet the essentials of life. They make a good point here too. They make a good point here as well. But here's the thing, guys. The more you provide, the greater the poverty trap is. Sure, you don't have the essentials of life. I'm sure you can scrape. Well, what are the essentials of life? You can really get by pretty cheaply if you have to. In another report, the committee warned people on JobSeeker that and other Centrelink payments were struggling to survive. People receiving these payments told the committee that they regularly go without life's essentials because they simply can't afford them. Let's break down what life's essentials are. Is it like the articles where we see the super fat person who has to skip a meal? I need to skip a meal. I've been bulking up my internal mobile reserves of foodstuffs. This is in part the result of the unsatisfactory indexation arrangements over many years. I don't understand why. Well, no, I do understand why they've done it with Centrelink and with the pension. Why it's not just tied to inflation, just hard-coded in. They don't need some other stupid process to do it. It should just be linked to inflation. But the problem is it would go up every time. Funny that, huh? How they've got a separate system for that, but the booze and tobacco and petrol consumption taxes, they're all hardwired to automatically go up. It's amazing, isn't it? Centrelink can be brutal to live off long-term. Yeah, this is the thing. It shouldn't be long-term. It's not designed to be long-term. And that's the poverty trap. Aussies on JobSeeker have told Yahoo Finance that the payment is practically unlivable. With Centrelink, our income is $900. Our rent is $530. All our bills and then the ridiculous prices of foods. We're not able to save to purchase any items for our baby, one mother revealed. Okay, what about all the family tax benefits you get? They never mention that they get for the babies all the time. That's how you see. I didn't understand how you had like a single mother living up the street, not working, supporting a whole family. I didn't realize how much money they get. If you got like 4 kids, 5 kids, 7 kids, guys, I should stop working, eh? I've got neighbors who think I'm just because I work from home. They think I'm just a complete bum living off the government. It's probably best they keep thinking that. So, yeah, that's how when you see people not working with big families, that's it. Between the two of us, this is so extreme, and I had to give up hope of finding suitable work. The stress of money is impacted by mental health. What about your husband? It's not. I'm going to go really old school here. Really old school. It's his job to provide as the patriarch of the household. He needs to take care of his wife and kids. Traditionally, you shouldn't even have to work. You should be able to devote your time to the household and children. The problem is that's a luxury these days. That is a luxury, being able to do that. It's not a normal thing. If I think to my friends who are achieving that, they're all in quite high-profile careers. It occurs in the homeschooling community too, but people make sacrifices. They make huge sacrifices to do that. And in some ways, it's cheaper. Now looking at like all the school shit, you got excursions, uniforms, this event, charity raising, bring in money for this. All that stuff adds up. Swimming lessons. It's all expensive when you're in the normie world as opposed to the homeschooling world. So in some ways, having a wife at home, homeschooling your kids, and not working, sure, they're sacrificing their income, but there are a lot of other benefits and savings there. Another woman said, I'm currently shopping at food banks to get by, and admittedly, when it works, it works. But if something does come up like car rego or a small emergency, this is absolutely no money left for basic necessities, let alone make any attempt to save. There's no money for luxuries. I cannot even afford to take an hour's drive to the beach. Out of fear I won't be able to get back to the shops, or be able to attend job search appointments for the fortnight. The 59-year-old recipient, yeah, this is a problem when you get old. There's a lot of employment discrimination based on age. That's the reality of it. Job seeker can be a nightmare. The workers at the job agencies have little wiggle room to help. It's like 1 week you're suspended for missing some activity, then you have to attend the office for a re-engagement meeting. I mean, that's what it is, guys. So let's have a chat about this. So why do I say Aussies love the Bludgers? It's because, or want Bludgers. It's because we want to ensure there's a safety net in place for people. The arguments of increasing it, they're two-sided. One, they could exacerbate the poverty trap that exists when you implement these systems. Two, it could help people make ends meet or prepare for jobs. I would argue you provide an additional supplementary payment to help train and prepare people for a job. I'm sure there's other programs and things already in place for that. You don't want to increase the flat rate. This should be seen as an emergency temporary measure for people that haven't sorted out their stuff enough to take care of themselves. That's what it should be. We're always going to have some bludgers, guys. If you want your minimum wages, if you want state mandated market interventions, manipulating a free market artificially, you need to ensure you take care of the destitute. You can't have it both ways. You can't be bitching and moaning saying, oh, well, they deserve this minimum wage or they deserve this intervention, and then bitch and moan on people who can't even get a foot on the ladder. There's always going to be some lazy, bloody bludgers that don't want to work. We're never going to get rid of that. There's always probably back in the day you'd kick them out of the village. But we're in a modern world now. There's no point. So that's the price we pay for this safety net. What do you reckon, guys? Take care, and I'll see you next time.